Good day, everyone. We are the Group 4. Our research topic, Senior High School Students' Reason and Ways of Skipping Sessions During Online Classes. Chapter 1. Background rationale of the study. This COVID-19 pandemic has brought to light the enormous worldwide disparities and challenges that we face as a society today. As a result, education has undergone significant transformations with the rise of online learning in which instruction is done remotely and via digital platforms. According to research, online learning increases information retention and takes less time, implying that the alteration created by the coronavirus are here to stay. The
The research
researchers have noticed that the productivity of senior high school students has decreased from previous levels, so they have decided that the focus of this study will be on senior high school students as well as the researchers in order to find solutions that will benefit them and the researchers.
Online learning can be defined as the use of educational technologies to design, deliver, and manage both formal and informal learning and knowledge sharing at any time and any place. In educational context, some online earning courses are offered fully online without any face-to-face interactions, while in some contexts, courses are offered with a blended mode, that is, the use of both face-to-face and online interactions that are facilitated by educational technologies.
For our statement of the problem, this study is focused on the reasons and ways senior high school students skip their online classes.
The study objectives is to determine the common ways used by senior high school students to skip online classes. Also to find out the reasons why some senior high school students skip online classes.
Significance of the study objectives. Central Philippine University senior high school students. This research will also benefit senior high school students as they will be aware that skipping classes will not be permitted by the school, as well as the consequences of doing so.
This research will assist parents in determining whether or not their children are actually attending class.
Teachers. The findings of this study will undoubtedly benefit teachers. This will help them understand why kids miss classes and how to deal with it.
And lastly, the findings of this study will serve as a valuable resource and source of information for the future researchers.
Scope and limitations. This study will primarily focus on Central Philippine University Senior High School student batch 2021 and 2022 in order to identify what strategies students use to skip classes during virtual learning.
This study is conducted to benefit the parents, the teachers, the learners, the Central Philippine University senior high school student, and the future researchers. Researchers want to discover why students are skipping classes. Limitations are events or circumstances that occur in a study that is beyond the researcher's control. The researcher's available time to perform the study, the restricted access to literature, the response rates and willingness of participants during the study, and the lack of follow-up capabilities owing to the nature of online techniques are all weaknesses in the study.
Definition of terms. First, assess, according to Cambridge Dictionary, to judge or decide the amount, value, quality, or importance of something. In this study, it refers to a judgment about something. The school will assess the students' progress each year. Attendance. According to Oxford Dictionary, attendance is the being present at at a meeting or event or etc. In this study, it refers to a student with a pattern or chronic absenteeism to the attendance board if their efforts to improve attendance and discover. According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, to show the presence something hidden or difficult to see, to make something known, to learn or find out something surprising or unexpected. In this study, it refers to locating or gaining knowledge about something that was previously unknown or unseen. Evaluate. According to Macmillan Dictionary, to think carefully about something before making a judgment about its value, importance, or quality. Evaluate. In this study, it refers to determining or setting the value or amount of a praise. To evaluate a property to judge or determine the significance. Find. According to Easy Advanced Dictionary, find is to come upon of often accidentally encounter. In this study, it refers to discovery or of something valuable, typically something of archaeological interest. Investigate. According to Picture English Dictionary, investigate is to carry out research or study into a subject, typically one in the scientific or academic field, so as to discover facts or information. In this study, it refers to a researching inquiry. Learn. According to Collins English Dictionary, to gain knowledge of something or acquire skill in some art or practice. In this study, it refers to the process of acquiring new understanding, knowledge, behaviors, skills, values, attitudes, and preferences. Motivation. According to Learner's Dictionary, the act or process of giving something a reason for doing refers to the process that initiates, guides, and maintains goal-oriented behaviors. It is what causes you to act, whether it is getting. Online class. According to worldreference.com dictionaries, an online class is a course conducted over the internet in which students can view their course syllabus and academic progress, as well as communicate with fellow students and their course instructor. In this study, it refers to the mode of learning with the use of video conferencing applications and learning management system. Prevent. According to Picture English Dictionary, prevent is to keep from occurring, avert, hinder. He intervened to prevent bloodshed, to hinder or stop from doing something. There is nothing to prevent us from going. In this study, it refers to keeping things from happening or existing steps. Recommendations. According to New Oxford American Dictionary, a recommendation is a suggestion or proposal as the best course of action. especially one put forward by an authoritative body. In this study, it refers to the action of recommending something or someone, a things or course of action suggested as suitable.
Foreign literature. The COVID-19 pandemic caused the greatest disruption of the educational system in human history, affecting nearly 1.6 billion learners in more than 200 countries. The closure of schools, educational institutions, and learning spaces affects more than 94% of the world's student population. COVID-19 has become a global health crisis. As of October 6, 2020, almost 36 million people have been infected and over 1 million have died. In the Philippines, that translates into almost 325,000 infected and 6,000 deaths. World Meter 2020. To curb the spread of COVID-19, most governments have opted to employ quarantine protocols and temporarily shut down their educational institutions.
Local literature, physical interpersonal relationships, and social anxiety among online games players. This study examines whether social activities with parents, online and offline social self-efficacy, and attitudes toward gaming are associated with the degree of game addiction among adolescents. Online games users physical, interpersonal, and social anxiety. This study looks at whether adolescents' game addiction is linked to social activities with parents, online and offline social self-efficacy, and view towards gaming.
According to a study conducted by L. Fryer Piggy, M. Howard, C. Anderson, and S. Ozono, 2017, individual differences and course attendance. Why do students skip class? Understanding students' lack of study motivation is a crucial first step toward addressing these individual variances and of potentially increasing class lecture attendance.
Chronic absenteeism is an issue in any country's educational system at any time. But with the great majority of the nation's school buildings shuttered and classes being performed online, more students than ever are skipping classes, not signing on, not checking in, or failing to complete homework. The absence rate tends to be especially high at schools with a significant proportion of low-income children who may have limited access to home computers and internet connections.
Local studies. School appears different during the COVID-19 pandemic, whether you call it remote learning, online learning, or distance learning. Here are the possible barriers to student engagement during distance learning. First, the situations of the students' lives have changed. Your students' life may have changed dramatically since your school closed due to a pandemic, economic collapse, or social unrest. Second, students may no longer have access to the internet, a gadget to utilize, or a learning area. Third, when you interact with your students in person every day in the classroom, you can get a feel of who is going through a difficult time at home. And last, students are stressed and traumatized. Stress and trauma can affect cognitive processing, executive functioning abilities, and emotional control in students.
The survey method was used to conduct the research in this study. The researchers' major goal was to find out why and how senior high school students skip session during online classes at Central Philippine University. The descriptive method was used to determine whether the students' reason and ways are legitimate or invalid, as well as whether they have a positive or negative impact. In this study, the survey approach was employed to perform the research. The researchers wanted to know why and how students in your high school skip session during online classes. The descriptive technique was utilized to see if the students' explanation and methods were valid or not and whether they had a good or negative influence. According to an article written by T.L. Jones, M.N.J. Baxter, and B. Kanduha, 2011, entitled A Quick Guide to Survey Research, it was stated that questionnaires are a very useful survey tool that allow large population to be assessed with relative ease despite a widespread perception that surveys are easy to conduct. In order to yield meaningful results, a survey needs extensive planning, time, and effort. They have come to the conclusion that surveys research is a unique way of gathering information from a large cohort. Advantages of survey includes having a large population and therefore a greater statistical power, the ability to gather large amounts of information, and having the availability of validated models. In research article authored by B. Krishna Rao entitled The Descriptive Method in Social Research. The descriptive method, as a method of science, aims at an understanding of generalization concerning the behavior of the object studied so that stable beliefs can be imposed on the flux of change in which objects originally exist. And also, according to another article authored by Bernard Catherine titled Research Design, Descriptive Method, it states that descriptive approach is where the research begins. To learn about a phenomenon, you begin by describing the what, who, where, when, and why of the events you are concerned about. Through description, we can see the relationship between behaviors, individuals, or events as they occur, and thus we better understand the relationship between variables.
The researchers chose the grade 12 learners of Central Philippine University Senior High School Department of ABM students as the respondents of this study. The population of grade 12 ABM learners for the academic year 2021-2022 is made up of 278 respondents. This study will apply simple random sampling, a method in which each member of the sample has an equal opportunity to be selected.
The researchers use Sloven's formula n divided by 1 plus NE2. N stands for the 278 ABM student and divided into 1 plus the product of the population size and has the desired margin of error of 0.05. The research result is a sample size of 164 respondents. Random sampling will be applied to give equal chances to the population. The fishbowl technique will be used to select the names of all ABM students in each group. Their names were written on a piece of paper and put inside a fishbowl, and after that, 164 names were picked and decided as a survey participants.
The researchers proposed questions, questionnaire, or interview guide for the interview, and informed consent were the research instruments used for the study. The questionnaire or interview guide is a research-created instrument that was developed with the assistance of a research advisor or professor and validators who are experts in research and environmental studies. The goal of using a survey method is to ensure comparability and collection of responses for analysis. The items were enumerated and the participants responded non-verbally to the provided questionnaire with the corresponding questions that were true to them during the interview procedure. It was split into two sections. Part 1 will provide a profile of each respondent, including personal information, location, a device used in online learning, internet service provider, a method for accessing the internet, and the video conferencing application. And part 2 will indicate how relatable it is to students in the following situations that are encountered in online classes.
The researcher's questionnaire was submitted to the research advisor for review and approval. Then it will be presented to the jurors who are chosen for their expertise. The comments and recommendations to the jurors for improving the questions will be taken into account during the revision process. Participants will be chosen from 10% of the total sample size of 164 people. The Crow-Batch Alpha was used to measure the questionnaire reliability. The Cronbach Alpha rule states that for an instrument to be considered reliable, it must have a worth of at least 0.80.
When the questionnaire is ready, we will ask permission to conduct our study and proceed to asking questions from our respondents. But before we proceed, we will first ask their consent if they want to participate in our research. If they are willing to participate, questionnaires will be provided by us for them to answer, and to the findings will be gone through an analysis to be further studied.
The data obtained from the study was subjected to the following descriptive and inferential statistical treatments using the statistical package for senior high school students, reasons and ways of skipping classes during online classes. The statistical tools used in this study were mean, t-test, percentage, statistical package for social sciences. First, mean implies average, and it is a sum of a set of data divided by the number of the data. Mean was used to determine the efficiency level in online learning. Second, t-test is a type of inferential statistics used to determine if there is a significant difference between the means of two groups. T-test was used in measuring the efficiency level in online learning according to the location, sex, and internet access method. Third, percentage. It will be used in determining the percentage amount among the respondents on what are their ways and reasons in skipping online classes. Fourth, statistical package for social sciences or SPSS. Thus, the software will be used to encode, record, process, and evaluate the acquired data.